Well, hello guys, welcome back to the channel, and today, finally after a week's break, I bring to you the review of this week's chapter of One Piece, 821 of its name understood. And what a chapter this was, with starting by the cover. This week's One Piece was the cover of Shonen Jump as a way to kickstart the new saga, the new arc, what you want to call it, versus Yonkou. And what a cover it is. We see Luffy on one side, and on the other we see all the four Yonkous. Blackbeard Teach, Redhead Shanks, Kaido of the 100 Beasts, and Big Mom Charlotte Lillian. Things are going to be chaotic from now on in One Piece. The story is 70% true. If you haven't seen that new, I'm gonna leave a link in the description below. You can check it out for yourselves. The story is 70% true. That means there's only 30% left. But then again, 30% is a lot when compared to everything that's still left to answer in One Piece. But enough with this shonen cover. Let us begin with the chapter itself and talk about yet another cover. Meanwhile, this week's chapter actually brings some information about the new film Gold. I believe it reveals the dubbers, the guys who will make the voices of the characters of the movie. As you can guess, I can't read the Japanese letters, so I don't know the names of them. But yes, they are here. You can see their pictures. I'm actually quite pleased with the how this movie is coming along, and I really want to see when it releases. It's going to be released on my birthday, so yay! I hope it doesn't get too long for it to be released by other sources, if you know what I mean. But enough of that. Let us begin the chapter and with an amazing color spread by Oda. Look at this. This is a totally different style from everything that Oda's drawn so far. And we see in the background the retainers of Lord Oden, Kinemon, Nekomamushi, Raizo, Inuarashi, and Kanjuro. And at front, we see Luffy, Brook, Sanji, Nami, and Chopper and Momonosuke. But not only that, we see Carrot and Pedro, the leopard mink and the bunny mink. Now, Brook, Nami, Chopper, and Luffy and Sanji, of course, retains to the fact that this will be the team that will go save Sanji. I mean, Brook, Luffy, Nami, and Chopper are the team that's going to save Sanji. And that's why Sanji is there. Now, the interesting fact is Momonosuke is there as well. Could it mean that him, Carrot, and Pedro will actually go with Luffy and his team to save Sanji? That would be very interesting. And allow me to indulge in a little bit of theorizing here. I don't usually do this when it comes to this topic. Let's talk next, crewmates, for a second. Oda said a few while ago, I believe it was in an SBS or on an interview, I don't remember, it was either of these. But he said that when new crewmates were going to enter, they would enter one after the other. Carrot and Pedro are two. Now, yes, I don't usually go on talking about crewmates like that. Normally, when I think of the possibility of a new crewmate, I think it through and I analyze the characters. It's too early to say that Pedro or Carrot, either of these, can actually enter the band, the crew. But who knows? Just a wild thought here. And we see Luffy in his Gear 4th form. So this might indicate that Luffy will enter Gear 4th in this current arc or saga. So a very cool cover. I just loved it. The way Oda drew this, the coloring, everything. The guy's a genius. You know this. The guy's a freaking genius. But moving on finally to the chapter. The chapter begins right where the last one ended, with the apparent destruction of Zunisha. and everything is tumbling down. Houses are falling, people are falling, except for Inuarashi, Luffy, not Sanji, Law, Zoro. Apparently, Kinemon didn't fail as well because he's holding on to Momonosuke. But everyone else is just tumbling down all over. And then Momonosuke and Luffy are actually hearing a voice that we later know to be the voice of Zunisha. And she's asking for something to be said to her and quick. And Luffy and Momonosuke are kind of suffering from that voice because they say it keeps getting louder and louder as it goes. The action cuts to the sea where Jack and his fleet are attacking Zunisha in the leg. And you might think, I thought it was surprising that such a big elephant was actually suffering from cannon fire. But Jack says something very interesting, that even your average elephant will stampede at the sight of just a single bee. So we have the image of elephants as big, massive creatures. Well, not in our world, they are big. You know they're big. But and there's that running gag that an elephant will flee on the side of a mouse. In our young day cartoons, I remember seeing that a lot. An elephant seeing a mouse, and the elephant would just go bananas over that. So it makes sense that Zunisha is actually suffering. Not only suffering, I believe they actually tore out a piece of her leg. If you see, there's like a dent in her leg. My God, how many cannonballs did they fire to her? But yes, even though she's a millennial old elephant, even her even her legs, even the skin on her legs has become weak and aged. So this contradicts my early theory that Zunisha was actually a machine. Yes, I always thought that Zunisha could be a machine, but no, apparently she's a really living being. And I'm okay with that. After this chapter, I'm really okay with that. And so they plan on getting her to her knees so they can finish her off, cutting off her head, her eyes, pull her eyes out, cut off her tongue. They just want to mess Zunisha up really bad. And in the end, it ended up being otherwise. And now we see Zunisha speak again. She asks, please command me. But command me on what? Even Luffy says, command you to do what? What do you want? But Luffy gets no answer from Zunisha. And that's the interesting part of it. Luffy can hear the voice of all things. He can hear everything. He can hear all the voices. But he cannot communicate back with every one of them. Now, is it because the one that's talking, let's put it like that, if does it mean that Zunisha doesn't want to hear Luffy's voice? Or is that Luffy's voice is not strong enough to reach Zunisha, but her voice is strong enough to reach him? Is it something genetic? Is it something that's chosen by the person who talks with the mystical voice? I don't know, but apparently Gold Roger and Odin said the same thing when they visited Zoe, and they both were unable to talk to her. So even Odin and Roger were unable to talk with Zunisha. Another interesting thing, Zunisha is able to transmit images directly to Momonosuke's head. And this is the most important fact of this chapter, which I believe answers the question, why was Momonosuke one of the three trump cards for Don Flamingo? If you remember, there was the Smile Factory, there was Momonosuke, and there was, I forgot the third one. Yeah. But there was Caesar. It was Caesar, the Smile Factory, and Momonosuke. I believe this chapter just answered why Momonosuke was one of such three gods, because he has the power to actually command Zunisha, to hear Zunisha and to command her, because she was asking for an order to attack Jack, and she got it in the end. But before that, Momonosuke transmits what Zunisha told him or showed him to everyone else. And they are all surprised. How do you know this? And the poor boy, it's understandable. He's scared, but he says, they come into my head. He doesn't know what it is. But he's scared of that. But he continues. And Zunisha says, if I were to fall, you all will be in grave danger. So, and that's what I think. We don't know the full extent of Zunisha's height. So, if she were to fall, I always believed that she could at least maintain her upper body floating. Not really floating, but if she were to get down on her knees, I believe that her upper body could stay above water, just enough to allow Zoe to remain on her back and alive and well. But apparently it's not so. Or did she mean danger by Jack coming on top of the island and actually slaughtering them all? Who knows? But Inuarashi says orders the Minks to send the ships out to the sea that they shall engage Jack at sea, which is a clever idea, given that he's a devil fruit user. If they can drown his fleet, he would be defeated, as it happens. And now Momonosuke realizes that the owner of the voice is none other than Zunisha herself, or itself. I like to call her herself. If she's a living being, then let's call her by like a living being. And now he actually says why Zunisha is doing what she is, because in the ancient past, Zoe or Zunisha, he says Zoe, but it's Zoe as like in elephant, not like the country, but like in elephant. So Zunisha committed a crime, and because of such crime, she was sentenced to walk for all eternity, and to only act when given an order. And apparently, that order must come from Momonosuke, because Luffy can't talk to her. No one else on Zou, as of this moment, can hear what she's saying. And so, heck, if Luffy can't do it, then Momonosuke must do it. And so it is. After an argument with Luffy, Momonosuke actually commands Zunisha to fight against Jack. And so she does. And my friends, if I was speaking in Portuguese, I would have an amazing joke to say on this situation. But as I'm speaking in English, the joke will have no impact on you. So, drunkard to the face with Jack, and the entire fleet is annihilated. With one fell swoop, Zunisha is able to destroy every single ship on Jack's fleet. And thus, Jack is defeated, even his mask breaks, and we see his teeth. He has like pointy teeth. And yes, Jack and his entire fleet fall into the sea. Now, a little break here to talk about the current state of Jack. I understand the quick defeat of Jack. He was completely at a disadvantage. He was at sea. He was against a gigantic elephant who was just waiting for an order to attack. And yes, that's all. Now, will he stay defeated? Will he actually drown and die at the bottom of the ocean? Will he be saved by one of his crewmates and they will all float there until they are saved? Or I don't know. Because Jack is one of the three calamities of Kaido. He's a man that's worth 1,000,000,000 berries. Not that has anything to do with anything, but I don't think that he's a character to disappear off screen like that. Unless Oda gives us a very good reason why that is so. Maybe there's already a third calamity ready to join to occupy Jack's place. Because after Zunisha's attack, the island stabilizes. The little monkey, he sees what happened to Jack's fleet, and he goes on to tell the other Mings what happened. And the voice ceased to speak. They can no longer hear the voice. And yes, they learn via the monkey that Zunisha actually managed to defeat Jack's fleet with her trunk. And yes, now they all forgot about this pretty quickly because now Nekomamushi wants to figure out how Jack managed to get back there. And after he said that, I really, yeah, how did he manage to go back there? Because it's not a known island, so there are no eternal poses. Was he able to make a Viver card? Is that a thing? I don't know. We still don't know how Viver cards work, but apparently they are easy to make because in Dressrosa, Sabo managed to make one for Luffy. So maybe they are easy as in they can be made in the fly. So Jack maybe did a Viver card for Inuarashi or Nekomamushi or any other Ming, and he just followed it towards Zou. But anyway, Luffy doesn't care about that. He says, "Oh, you just go do your thing, but first, please fill this bag up with food." And at the end of the chapter, in a certain island of the New World, and then Muchi rings, and it's no one else than, I believe, Scratchman Hapu himself. And he says, communications with Jack have been cut off at sea, Lord Kaido. So as I always believed, and as many people believed, Apu at least, and I believe Hawkins, Kid, and Killer are now Kaido's subordinates. But what kind of on-the-fly subordinates or recent subordinates like them are already in charge of looking after a calamity? Because it feels strange, because let's transcend this to our world. If you are new to a company, if you just got the job, you are like the lowest rank of all, and you have the big boss, and then you have the little bosses. As a low class employee, you just don't go around and look after the little bosses. You just don't go on, and if anything, you do their bidding. So you don't control them, they control you. And I'm not saying that Happo is controlling Jack, but for Happo to to be communicating to Kaido that Jack was defeated, eh, I was expecting for them to be on a worse shape than than what they were shown, unless that Happo had already made an arrangement with Kaido, like Drake did, and with that he approached Kid so that he could either defeat them or bring them to Kaido's cause. And that's why he rose to the ranks during the time skip. I don't know. There's a little screen that looks like bars, but I can't make anything out of that. The image is covered with the speech balloon. So I don't know. What do you guys think on this? Do you think that all four of them are underlings of Kaido? Only Apo is and Kid, Hawkins, and Killer are actually locked in there. I don't know. But anyway, tell me what you've thought of this chapter in the comment section below. This chapter marks officially the beginning of the new saga and possibly one of the last sagas of One Piece versus Yonkous. From now on, it's non-stop. Oda said it, and is making it true. This year is going to be a rampaging year for One Piece. It's going to be the year of Sanji. We already had a lot of revelations. Many questions are starting to be answered. Some more questions are being asked, but nonetheless, many more will be answered, many more will ascend, and my God, where will this lead us? Where will it end? How will it end? Who knows? Only Oda does, and only we will know in the far, far future. But anyway, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to comment on the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, if you enjoyed the quality of it, the quality of my performance, and I know I don't usually ask this a lot, but if you could please share this with your friends, let them know of the work I do here. The more people to watch, the more people to give their opinions, and the more I can improve over time. I don't ask this a lot, so please, if you can consider doing it, I would be very much appreciated. And I say my goodbyes to you, and I'll see you next week.